What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Classic 1984 Tromaville, one of the classic low budget B rate, honestly terrible movies that has stood the test of time and become iconic, has gotten the long awaited, long gestated remake from Hollywood. And here to talk about it with me is the Shameful Lone Star State, my man. Tech, what's up, brother?
I know there's a lot of rumors floating around, but I promise I'm not perfect. So take that one word.
Yeah, we're already well on top of it. See, Dr. Nick says that Casey puts Toxic Avenger action figures up his ass. What's up, AJ? Good to have you here, my brother. And Nick says, just in time for our big gamer, the big video gamer, Jeremy, not to be here. He said he's starting out Red Dead Redemption 2 over again. I played a little bit of Red Dead, didn't play a lot of it.
Nice.
A little too methodic and slow for me, but an enjoyable game as much as any other ones. But we are here, of course, to talk about the Toxic Avenger, the new remake that was filmed 3 years ago and just came out last week. kind of a weird journey to be taken, but whatever. We're here to talk about it anyway, and I'm kind of glad it came out. That is, of course, the Toxic Avenger. It actually unrated is what it says is said to be, and it didn't seem very unrated.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
American superhero black comedy splatter film. I've never heard anything referred to as a splatter film before. Written, directed by Macon Blair, it is the fifth installment, a reboot of the Toxic Avenger film series, and a remake of the 1984 film. The film stars Peter Dinklage as the title character, alongside Jacob Tremblay, Taylour Paige, Julia Davis, Jonny Coyne, Elijah Wood, and Kevin Bacon. The Toxic Avenger premiered as the opening film of the Fantastic Fest on September 21st, 2023, with a wider theatrical release followed by Cineverse and Iconic Events releasing it in the United States August 29th of this year. The film has received positive reviews from critics and has grossed $754,000 on its opening night in the U.S. I don't know exactly what the total take is in its first week, and I have to go look. On Rotten Tomatoes, 83% of 106 critics' reviews are positive. The website's consensus review reads, quote, like the original, The Toxic Avenger isn't for everyone, but viewers seeking an extremely gory, extremely silly good time won't be disappointed. Tex, you have plenty to say. I have plenty to say. Give me your quick opening thoughts on Toxic Avenger, and then we'll get into the spoiler talk.
Yeah, I was disappointed with the show. I'm a Troma guy. I have long been subscribed to Troma now, the streaming service where they have all of their movies. I love the Toxic Avenger, the original. Well, the first two were good. 3 and 4, fine, whatever. But this one, I'm honestly disappointed with it. This was not a splatter fest. This was not a gore fest. If this is unrated, did we not just see Terrifier 3? I mean, really? I mean, come on now. I'll put it to you this way. I was so disappointed with this movie. I had the Toxic Avenger popcorn bucket. By the time I left the theater, I sold it to somebody else there because I didn't even want to keep the damn thing. So, tells you anything.
Yeah, this movie kind of has me torn because there was a lot of stuff that I liked about it. A lot of things. There was a lot of things that were a pretty big disappointment. Overall, I liked the movie. I thought it was fun. It was fun the way that the movie Bullet Train was fun. The expectations were a little low, and it kind of shocked me with how good the acting and the characters and the story were. This one kind of really does miss on a couple levels, and it's really disappointing. One of them is I'll talk to you about it later. One of your favorite things, the visuals. The visuals weren't quite there. Really, right. not nearly the way they were in the original from 1984, or really any of the subsequent sequels. They were all. I mean, that's why I said they called this a splatter film. I'm like, I don't know what I called it that. It was very tame horror compared to what the 1984 version was, with the exception of a couple of scenes that have kind of great like blink and you miss it shots, stuff like this.
There's one scene. No, there's. Oh yeah, I'm going to be bitching about that scene specifically because they really shorted us on something.
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes that I was like, you really should have gone heavy on the gore on this and made it like a legit horror, lean into the horror aspects of it all, and they just didn't. I feel like they they made some creative mistakes along the way making this movie. It's a fun movie. I didn't leave the theater upset that I paid money for it, but you know, the original it is not. Let's just go. Let's just start there. Let's start first about the the works of Macon Blair, who you can see on the middle of the screen right there with the glasses and the black tie. I don't know how much of your work, how much his work you're experienced watching, but what do you think of Macon Blair and just kind of what he did with this film?
Yeah, he's done a lot of lower budget stuff. Really, the two of his that come to mind for me is Green Room, that with the whole neo Nazis and the punk house kind of film with Patrick Stewart in the lead. That one probably the best movie of his that he's done. But he also did that political movie Hunt. You know, the one that caused so much controversy, a few years ago or whatever. I thought he did really well with that. Besides that, I don't know if I've seen any other of his work, but those two I love. This one, I thought he shit the bed on it, to be real honest with you, because, we'll get into it. But out of all his, filmography, definitely Green Room and Hunt would be the two that I would go to for sure.
Well, The Hunt, I think he was actually just an actor, and I don't think he had any creative.
Or did he not direct that? I know he was attached to it.
He's done some acting stuff.
Okay, well then I was confused. I couldn't remember if he directed or not, but I knew his name was attached.
He's actually got quite a few acting roles. He's got
okay, my bad.
Heard of Blue Ruin, Green. He was in Green Room.
I could have sworn he directed.
Logan Lucky he was in. I don't remember him being in that, but I only saw the movie once. He was in The Hunt. He played Oliver Fox Boy.
That's right.
He actually had a role in Oppenheimer, believe it or not. He was in this movie, and he's got a couple more.
Hell, who didn't have a role in Oppenheimer? I'm pretty sure I had a role in Oppenheimer.
Yeah, we were all in Oppenheimer at some point. There were like 2,000 people credited in that movie. But one of the things that stands out the most to me, other than his acting in The Hunt, is Green Room. That movie is something. That movie is special.
I love that movie. It's a great movie.
That's one of those movies that nobody sees coming, and then you go to watch it, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Really good.
Artistry. The late great Anton Yelchin, of course, and Patrick Stewart playing the bad guy. God, what a great arrangement to just do something really wacky and special. Yeah, that's the biggest thing he's done other than this that I can think of that I've seen anyway. As far as this movie is concerned, yeah, there's some creative slips here. I would be curious to know what kind of things he wanted to do with this movie that ended up not being done for one reason or another. Usually, some financial concerns. They don't want to, they don't want to spend that $5 million to do this or whatever. That's usually one of the things that holds up the visual stuff. But look, I do think that from a director's standpoint, this movie was as good as it was ever going to be, because you couldn't quite do some of the things in the original. Like the visual stuff you could.
I disagree with that.
And it's disappointing, but it's like, but some of the things maybe you couldn't do, but they still should have gone balls out, because, and you already brought it up. Terrifier 3 basically had a terrorist bombing of a mall that killed children.
Right.
So
the opening scene of that film is
yeah. Why do you need to feel like you need to hold back? I mean,
right?
Because this, as far as horror and visual is concerned, a bit timid. I feel like
and not just that,
but some of the dumber horror movies have gone much farther on the visuals and not been so afraid to embrace the. I mean, because come on, he's a man who's made of radioactivity, swinging a radioactive mop, who's knocking people's jawbones off and stabbing through people and burning them, and he himself is a ghastly creature that has been mutated by toxic stuff. Why not let the visuals kind of be one of the things that carries this film? I don't understand why you didn't go more balls out with it. So that's a creative choice that kind of bothers me. But I'm willing to go see more stuff from him. From Macon.
He was not he did. Macon Blair did not understand what a trauma movie is. It's low budget. It's not even in the sewers. It's like in the gutters below. It's like underneath the dirt, dirty. What you need trauma film? I mean, hell, I think what's it called? Shakespeare's Shitstorm is a title of a trauma film, for Christ's sake. When you're directing a trauma film, and I don't care if this is a big budget remake, if you put the name trauma on it, there are certain expectations that must be met. And I don't know if it's just a fact of trauma films don't work in modern big budget. Maybe they belong with no money so that way they can do whatever they want. Or it's just the culture that it doesn't fit in. People aren't willing to go that far. But I think he just completely missed the point on this one. I was, like I said, I was very disappointed. I was very upset.
Yeah, the entire point of trauma, even after Toxic Avenger came out in 1984, they started to get a little bit of clout. The entire point of trauma is we're going to go balls out. We're going to do the things that other people might be afraid.
We're going to gross you out. We're going to be nasty.
And
we're going to be dirty.
This movie was very safe. It was just too safe visually. It was too safe with pieces of the dialogue. I mean, because like they kind of started to get there in like the diner scene. The diner scene in the original film and the diner scene in this film are two totally.
Oh, the diner scene in the original.
The diner scene, that's just pure blood and guts awesomeness right there. I mean the guy getting his hands squashing the thing and dropping the fryer. I mean that's great.
The milkshake
right there for a horror film.
Milkshake kill scene. Oh my! How can you not love that?
I'm looking forward to pulling some pictures for that review on Thursday.
Oh, I can't wait for Thursday. That's the one I'm really looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to sitting and watching that movie tomorrow. It's been a couple of years since I've seen it. I know I watched it a couple of years ago, but I'm really eager to sit down again and watch it. I think my youngest son hasn't seen it yet. He's because he actually went with me.
Oh, I'm jealous. That's great.
One of my boys went with me to go see this movie, and I was trying to tell him, I was like, the original 84 is way better. Because they thought this movie was okay. I was like, the original 84 is fantastic. But it's like that scene, by example, like it goes too far, which is kind of the point of trauma. This one, he's like, I don't want it to get a bad rating. I don't want any of the parents to freak out, so I'm going to dumb down these scenes a little bit and make them a little more PG. It's like, no, dude, that's not what trauma is. That trauma is balls to the wall, go for it.
It's disgusting. It's what it's supposed to be.
Because look, we'll talk about the cast in a second, but you've got the cast here. You've got Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood. Kevin Bacon's a Hall of Famer. Elijah Wood's probably a Hall of Famer. You got Peter Dinklage, who's adored by almost everybody, even people who didn't watch every episode.
I don't like that.
Even people who didn't watch every episode of the fucking Lord of the Dragon Rings or whatever the hell that show was that I never watched because I'm not into it. Like everything he's been in, people have loved him in it. So you got these people who are loved. You got the cast. Now go balls out, like really go for it. And I feel like he played it too safe. I really do. It was kind of disappointing. But let's get in now, and I'll go back to this picture. Let's get in now to one of the things that I think both of us can agree were actually very good as the cast. I can't knock the cast of this movie at all. The performances, while I think the movie plays a little too safe with the visuals, the performances were actually quite good. I was impressed by pretty much everybody in the cast. There's not one person who brought me down. Tex, what do you think of the cast of the show and who stood out to you the most?
Well, number one, the one thing that stands out the most to me in this cast is the cameo from Lloyd Kaufman at the end of the film.
Yeah.
I can't not mention Uncle Lloyd if we're talking about a trauma film. I was laughing and almost clapping like a special child in the theater when I saw Uncle Lloyd, because like there's my man. But I've never been a Peter Dinklage guy, especially in recent years with all the controversies that he stirred. I'm a big fan of Kevin Bacon. I think everybody is. Elijah Wood, he was probably the most trauma-esque character besides the Nuts Gang in this movie. But yeah, I'll probably say Elijah Wood just because I think he understood the assignment the most. It's really hard to describe what is a trauma film. I mean, you have to measure it by a different class completely, even on the acting standards, because hell, half the time the actors aren't even making money to be in a trauma movie. That's another one of the things that Lloyd Kaufman is so famous for. He makes it like he has actors sleeping on the floor of the sets between shootings and everything else. He doesn't pay for hotels and whatever. But acting wise, definitely I'd go Elijah Wood just because he played his character would have fit in a 1984 Trauma film, or really any other Trauma film made by Trauma Pictures. But I'd go Elijah Wood.
Yeah. Again, the cast, I can't knock any of them. They're fantastic. I think Peter Dinklage actually did the character pretty decent justice in his performance. One of the creative things that I would knock, I love Peter Dinklage.
You do know that he wasn't in the suit, right?
Yes,
you do know that.
I do.
Okay.
That's one of the things that kind of bothers me. It's like, if you're not going to have him in the suit, why not go the route that they went with the original? Have that scrawny guy.
It should have been Melvin. That was my number one thing. Yeah, it should have been Melvin.
Have it be Melvin the Mop Boy, and then once he gets transformed, have him be the big guy. Hire some muscular guy to put on some, whatever, some makeup, some foam rubber, and let him go out and be the muscular guy. I think it plays for humor a little bit. Him being the Toxie being of shorter stature, it does play for a little bit of humor.
I didn't like it,
but I think they would have been much better off if they would have gone the route that they did in the original and had some bigger guy. And like you said, it wasn't even Peter Dinklage in the suit. It was a lady in the suit, actually, that was doing all this, and Peter Dinklage just overdubbed his lines. So I figure if you're going to go through all that, you may as well just go get a big guy to put him in the suit. I thought I had read at one point that they had thought about doing that, but couldn't find an actor they wanted, and creatively they were like, maybe we'll keep him small, just to be different from the first one. But I don't think that difference is something that made the movie better. You know what I mean?
That was the whole point of, and I'm trying not to spoil too much because we're going to talk about it Thursday, but Melvin's story in the first film is so much more compelling. I hated Willard or whatever the character's name was in this movie.
It's a 40-year-old movie. At this point, it's not a spoiler.
Right, yeah. I hated what they did with the main character that turns into Toxie in this movie. He's trying to connect with this Gen Z son and his interpretive dancing, and I like your nail polish and yada yada. I'm like, come on, just throw the son of a bitch in the nuclear waste and start fucking people up. Like, they took, I'm getting into plot stuff here, but I just did not like what they did with Toxie in this film. I hated the little midgety version of him. He should have been bigger once he's Toxie. Like, that took something away from the character, and he wasn't imposing. He just looked gross for no reason, and that just, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, another problem I had is Taylour Paige, who I think is she's a decent actress. We've seen her, we reviewed Axel F. that came out on Netflix. She's Axel's daughter. She's supposed to be kind of important to the plot, but she's not really used a lot. She's basically just there to explain the other half of,
she's the big story that we didn't
corporate
need.
Is bad, and this person's here to tell you that corporate's bad. And the way that Peter Dinklage is trying to keep the corporation is bad. Yeah, we know that already. That's the point of a Toxic Avenger movie, is that the corporation is bad because of the bad shit they do. Toxie becomes, and they're poisoning people, and we already know the story. Why are you trying to tell me the same story from two different angles? I don't really understand it, because her performance was good. Her character was wasted. I think she should have carried a separate storyline rather than just both of them kind of trying to do the same thing and fumbling into each other. That seemed kind of.
She should have played. They should have, if she was going to be. Let's be real here. She took Sarah, the blind girl from the first movies, as the main female lead in this movie, which is what the blind girl was. She should have been the blind girl in this film. They should have had her. Oh, I've always wanted to cornhole me a blind bitch. That should have been her on the table, and then have her go forward. That's what that should have been. We don't need.
You notice though, in the diner scene, they had the blind girl there, the black lady.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And
I
that's
was
what
like,
I'm
if you're gonna go back to that, I was like, you may as well just done as a character.
Right. The fact that they didn't even finish that line in this movie I wanted to throw stuff at the screen. That scene in Toxic Avenger 84 where dude says, I've always wanted to cornhole me a blind bitch, and throws her on the table and rips her clothes off. That is essential to the movie. That is what trauma is. And the fact that they shorted us on that's enough to fail this movie for me to begin with, not counting anything else. But yeah, it just she should have been Sarah and not corporations are bad and we're woke. Like, I don't need
Well,
that role.
I feel like she should have. I mean, I guess you could kind of say her motivations are different because the reporter guy that she was working with at the beginning of the movie gets killed, and she maybe wants to get a little bit of revenge in the company for him. But they're both honestly they're just kind of on the same track. That's kind of disappointing to me. But also, I mean, Jacob Tremblay. I like him as an actor. He's actually he plays the young boy in one of the movies that I can't watch very often because it's so terribly good. He was in The Room. I don't know if you ever saw that or not. But
I don't think so.
It's not a horror movie. The plot of the movie is God, who was it? Was it the girl that played? Damn, I forget now. The Room, 2003 film. No, it's just Room. Okay, yeah. The Room is a terrible movie that people who think they know a lot about movies they claim it's good, but it's really not. 2015. Yeah, Room. That's the name of the movie. With fucking hell. Let me pull it up real quick just so I can. Just now I'm on the thought. It's who's it got in it? It's got Brie Larson, Jacob Tremblay, Joan Allen, Sean Bridges, and William H. Macy. Basically, the movie starts and this girl played by Brie Larson has been kidnapped and held captive by this guy for many. Do you remember the thing that went on in Cleveland several years ago where the guy had the 3 girls in?
Oh yeah, he had them in the basement or whatever. Yeah,
that's the situation that she's in at the beginning of the movie. So the movie's kind of split in half. The first half of the movie, it's her trying to figure out how to get out. She's been in there so long that this guy who is using her for his whatever, she actually has a kid from this who's like 7 years old now, and she's been in there so long, and she finally gets out. So the first half of the movie is her getting out. The second half of the movie is all the shit that she goes through trying to reclimatize to the world. She tries to finish herself and whatnot. It's a tough movie to watch. I mean, there's not a whole lot of movies that kind of turn me inside out. That was one of them that I kind of had to stop like at one point, and I had to go like washing dishes and kind of just put myself back in the real world for a minute because it was kind of getting in my head. Fantastic movie though. I mean, it's a beautifully done film. But he plays the young boy in that. But I mean, come on, star of the show here. I mean,
he was good.
Ren McCormick himself. I mean, like at this point, dude, he's kind of like Spielberg, not to make too high of a comparison, but at this point, Kevin Bacon's playing with house money. He's kind of done it all.
Yeah.
His career is what it is. I mean, he's done so many amazing projects. He's had a couple that didn't go so well, but I mean, his performances are almost always lights out. I really do think there's nothing the guy can't do at this point. So he's the one that kind of stands out for me because, like I said, movies like this, they're only as good as their villain, and there's some good villains in here. Him in particular, that are just fantastic. I could have swore I had loaded up a better picture of fucking the Hobbit boy. What the hell's his name? I could have sworn when I do that picture I downloaded. I don't know why that's not there now. It's weird. I don't know where that picture went. I could have swore I had it in here, but yeah, I mean, there's both those performances are very, very good. Like I said, the movies like this are only as good as their villain. Kevin Bacon is an amazing villain. And then, of course, you get the nuts.
Yeah, like they're pretty much the Insane Clown Posse is kind of, I think, they're inspired from.
Don't insult Insane Clown Posse like that. I've seen them before live, and they're quite a band to see in person.
That's Juggalos if I've ever seen them right there. Just the random.
I honestly, it's like now that you mention it, I think that. I mean, what they are is if a bunch of juggalos tried to start their own band.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the juggalo. Hey, I'm not talking about like casual juggalos, but like the ones that go like to the gathering, do like the really weird shit. Like that's juggalos right there.
Yeah, it's that level of juggalo. But making the local music group, the Assassins, was kind of like, it's weird, but it's kind of what this movie's supposed to be.
They're the nuts.
So I'll go with it. Yeah, it's a summon the nuts. I was like, that's funny. I chuckled heartily out loud in the theater when I went and saw this movie the other day. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the cast pretty good. I got no knocks on it at all. You got a couple of Hall of Famers, Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, but again, not so great directing. But let's move on now to the basic plot. And they did change a lot of things around from
Oh, yeah.
from the first one. Some changes I'm okay with because I think you had to change some things to modernize it a bit. Others I'm like, hey man, you don't take out one of the best ingredients of the cake and make a new cake and expect it to be the best cake you've ever had. You know what I mean? But whatever. I mean, so creative differences, whatever. What do you think of the plot of the movie, and what would you have changed about it?
I honestly, I was because I mean, I think I've told you before, but I had a friend of mine that actually went to Austin and saw this movie 2 years ago, and I basically swore him to secrecy of, okay, don't tell me anything about the movie, but tell me if it was good. And he liked it, so now I can't trust his movie opinion anymore. Well, I'll have that discussion after. But yeah, plot wise, this thing's a mess for me, dude. Like, they take way too freaking long to get to Toxic in this movie. Honestly, I was hoping for just give me a simple shot-for-shot, up-to-date remake. Keep it simple, pump it out. That's what I wanted going into this. I hated, like I said, this not being Melvin. I didn't need the update of the men's rights terrorist activist group. Oh, this used to be Mr. Burger. Now it's Miss Burger and the patriarchy. And I don't need that. I know why you're throwing that in the movie. That was dumb. It was better in the '84 film where it was just a random group holding up a fast food place. That was so much better. I would have just reshot the original film, threw it out there with bigger name talent. I would have left it at that. But yeah, I don't want to spend 10 minutes bitching about the plot. I fucking hated this.
Well, the plot of the movie is the same basic plot as the original. It's toxic waste dumping,
but not really when you're taking
this guy. They put a lot more focus on the company this movie, though, making Kevin Bacon the owner of the company, as opposed to the owners of the company are never really discussed. Their characters are never really explored in the original that I can remember. I'll be watching the movie again tomorrow, but they made it more of a, I think, in a way to try to organize the plot a little bit more. They forgot that one of the things that made the original movie good is that you just want to have 2 or 3 plot points that push your story from its beginning to its end, and that's it. Yeah, that's kind of what this movie is. Again, it's one of those moments where I think they kind of missed the assignment of what a trauma movie is. It's like, we're not trying to make high art here. You're not going to win an Oscar. It's like, so have fun with it. Just put out a movie that's in the spirit of the original, because those people like us who grew up having watched the original films are going to go watch it. The new generation is going to watch it because these are the younger generation, the ones that are into shit like Terrifier. So you can go a lot more hardcore with it and attract them as well, and the movie's going to do well. I mean, they basically made this movie for, I don't know, $8 million or something like that. It wasn't a whole lot of money, but yeah. So while I don't necessarily want a shot-for-shot remake when you remake a movie, I think doing something more like that would have helped this movie a lot more, because there wasn't. I agree that there was a little bit too much buildup. We could have gotten to Toxie a lot sooner. I honestly would have thrown the whole plot with the stepson away. It slows the movie down.
It dragged the whole movie down. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, it was one. Now, I would have liked it better if, like in the original film, he was kind of a loner who didn't have anybody except his mom, and then but even she was not really.
He gets the girlfriend
in the first film. Yeah, but even not getting a girlfriend in this film, I would have been satisfied with that if all his character is about is like a big revenge kick. That'd been fine by me too. But because I think a lot of times love stories kind of slow movies down. That's why that's why I got to be really careful about them. But yeah, I wouldn't. The plot is essentially kind of at its core the same. The presentation is different. I think the presentation should have been a lot more like the original. Like I said, it was good. The introduction of the band of assassins was funny. They played it for humor, but there was some times where you needed to kind of substitute some humor for more visual, more horror-like stuff, and they didn't do that when they should have. Because this right here, I mean, this is not a bad look. I mean, if you just said,
no, that looks great. Yeah, visually,
this is from a horror movie that's coming out, I've been like, okay, this is interesting. Right. Guy with face paint, dressed like John Cena in his jorts and probably on meth, and his whole weird band of very weird.
He's methed out, wearing his Kevlar vest and his flat billed cap. There you go.
Yeah, I just said, you know what, that's fine. Okay, that looks interesting enough to make me want to see a trailer or hear more about the movie.
That looks like trauma. Like, that looks visually like a trauma villain. Is what that looks like. Yeah.
But and on top of that, I mean, we'll get into this a little bit too before we move on. God, some of the effects are just bad. I mean, I could have done something like this on my
Yeah.
iPhone. Now,
Well,
now, in all fairness, this picture right here looks terrible. In the context of the scene with the motion and all that, it's not nearly as noticeable. But I noticed it the one time that I saw it in live action. I was like, oh yeah, that's bad CGI. That's something done on a cell phone for 25 cents.
well, and it wasn't that it
Not
was
all
just
the
bad
effects were bad.
CGI, but if you see the trailer, you see not like 95% of the
Of the
unrated gore
gore.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like you see most of it in the trailer. So it's like I think the only gore you don't see is the final, like when Toxic gets the nuts at their concert, and that's realistically not like the guy gets his arm torn off or whatever. Like it's nothing. It's I can go on Tubi right now and find 10 different low budget horror films that did better CGI for less money. Like they very disappointing.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't have minded it as much if they'd have given me more of it, oddly enough. It's like I hate this stuff, but if they'd have given me more, it'd have been okay, because at least then they would have leaned into the visual horror. And that may have made me help me enjoy the movie a little bit more.
It's
But
supposed to
or the
be
way I want
gross.
to do
This is once again, this is trauma bait. How do you not understand how to make
Yeah.
this movie?
Like I
I've
said,
never been to
I
film
think
school. I guarantee you I can make a better trauma movie. Like this guy, I hate it.
Yeah, I really do. I think that, like I said, the movie's watchable and fun, and I'm not mad of having gone and seen it. But I mean, I know what a trauma movie looks like. I've seen one or two of
Yeah.
them. Even if the only one I'd ever seen is Toxic Avenger, let's say that. It's like I would look at the '84
I've seen
version
too
and be
many
like, in
trauma movies.
1984 with worse special effects. Actually, I think most of the stuff in the '84 version was practical. To be honest,
It was pretty much all
1984.
right.
It was 1984, and and I'm sure they made that movie for bus fare, so they
Right.
couldn't have had a lot of CGI
Right.
anyway. But
Right.
but it's like if they could do it then, how could you not do some decent shit now and do more of it? Because that's kind of one of the things that carries the original is the heavy gore factor. In 1984, it would have been there would have been a bit more shock factor. I mean, now if you want shock factor in a horror movie, you basically have to go to Terrifier and watch him transect a girl with a hacksaw, or terrorist like blow up a bunch of kids in the mall.
And that's what's so disappointing is Trauma Studios is making movies right now. Like they make multiple movies per year. You're telling me they couldn't contract in Trauma talent to make this movie and still keep it big budget, do whatever, but at least go to them and be like, hey, how do you do Trauma? Like, teach us. Let us learn from you at least.
Well,
That's what's so frustrating about it.
Remember, though, before that comes the writing. You have to write a scene.
No, I get that. Yeah.
This says Terrifier hangs a girl by her feet, hacksaw down the middle. You have to write that scene. I feel like they just didn't write the scenes. So that when they did get to the point where we need this special effect right here, they were like, here's your special effect. Is that the only one you're going to want for this movie? Okay, here you go. I mean, go balls out. Some practical. Some things you can't really do practically, but I feel like they chose to soften this movie up, which kind of bothers me.
They did.
But anyway, I'm left asking this question: is this the start of a new franchise? I mean,
I fucking hope not.
I maybe I don't know. Give me some deeper thoughts, Tex. You say you hope not, but extemporize a little bit.
Yeah, I love the Toxic Avenger. Like I love trauma movies. Trauma is right in my wheelhouse. I love the nasty, the dirty, how could they put that on screen, or how could they say that? What this movie was not a start to anything franchise setting. This was no Terrifier 2 that changed everything and led to Terrifier 3. I feel like they took, this Terrifier did that. We'll just slap unrated on it, go straight to the theaters, and all the gorehounds like myself will just come out and flock to it. But you have to deliver when that happens. This movie was not a start to anything. I guarantee you this movie flops. I don't know what the box office or what the budget is, but I guarantee you it will not make money because people like Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood don't come cheap. And I know Peter Dinklage don't come cheap.
Well,
but
sometimes they will. Actors will do stuff at scale if it's a project they want to have fun with, and they know it's a low budget.
Yeah,
thing.
but this movie was nowhere near. This movie was nowhere near good enough. I don't want to see another new Toxic Avenger made by these people. If it's not made by obviously it won't be Lloyd Kaufman himself directing because I think he's close. He's either 80 or close to it. I'm not sure exactly what his age is. He's up there, but he may even be older actually. But if it's not being made by Troma, I don't need another Toxic Avenger. This does not work for me once again.
Yeah, I don't want to see this as a sequel. And look, I feel like as I sit here in this moment on this planet, in this universe floating around, that it would have been like I said, I know I've kind of shit on the movie for about 90% of this review so far, but I really did think it was a fun movie. It wasn't great. It wasn't great the way it wasn't timeless the way the original is. Not even close. But I do wonder with the now one of the things that's driving Hollywood being legacy sequels, that they may not have done better off making a legacy sequel instead of a remake. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you would write it. I don't know how you came to the decision, but I feel like if you'd have made this and the blind girl have a baby, and it turns out that he's mutated or something like that, and Toxic has cleaned up Tromaville, and Tromaville's a nice, wonderful, suburban, beautiful place now, and then some mayor comes in with a company that wants to destroy it all and go back to what used to be, and that's where Toxic Jr.'s got to take over. I'm shooting all this stuff out of my asshole, so if it sucks, forgive me.
Well,
but I mean, I feel like that might have been a take that would have worked and maybe a little bit better than this. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. Watching this film and really sitting and thinking about it, I'm kind of at a point where I think the Toxic Avenger is another one of those franchises that belongs in the 80s, because studios nowadays don't have the balls to make what came before. And what makes Toxic great is what makes people scared. And I just don't feel like I know this iteration of Toxic Avenger does not deserve another outing. This thing's going to get buried and forgotten about by the horror faithful, I truly believe. But I just believe Toxic Avenger belongs in the low budget, in the gutters where, he belongs where what made him great. He doesn't need to be big budgeted like this.
Yeah, one of the things about the Toxic Avenger character, both this and the original, and all the sequels that came with the original, it's not the horror movie that a lot of people think of when they think horror. Some people think horror.
It's a comedy more than it is a horror.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's much more comedy than it is horror. But and I think that this movie is a little too it's so cartoonish, so you can't take it seriously. Whereas
this one tried to take itself seriously, and that's part of the problem.
Part of the problem is they tried to make it a little more close to reality. I'm like, no, this exists in the Elseworld somewhere. But that's kind of the difference between this movie and like a Halloween. It's like this movie it takes place in Tromaville. This place can only exist in Lloyd Kaufman's imagination. This is the real world. Whereas you get really worried when you see Michael Myers walking on the street, because Haddonville is Anytown, USA. The idea behind making Haddonville or a place like an horror movie is that this could be your street. This could be your neighborhood if this giant guy's walking around with
literally a line from the first movie. Let's not forget Dr. Lucas. That's literally in there.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's scary about the really good horror is you feel like it's happening in your world. This one, I feel like I'm reading in the comic book, which is fine, but they tried to make it more serious than that, which is a bit disappointing. But I don't want to. Odds are they're going to make another one. I really hope that they right some of the wrongs, that they remember what it's going to depend on what this movie makes. I mean, $2.2 million budget is not a lot of money. I was trying to look it up on Box Office Mojo, and I got sidetracked. See, it's not even showing up on Box Office Mojo.
I do know that originally this was going to be a short release window, but like after day one, they opened up a bunch more theaters with showtimes. Now, how many people went to those showings? I don't know, but they did give them more screenings nationwide once it premiered. I do know that.
Okay, so worldwide, it's just about made its budget back. Domestic, 2.1 million. Worldwide, 44,000. It's probably not getting a lot of play overseas, but 2.14 million. It's by the time next weekend comes around to make its budget back, and I don't think they spent a ton of money marketing this movie. So maybe 3 million. If they can
Very
get 3 million,
little. I
they'll
mean,
break even.
besides dropping the trailer on YouTube and social media, I don't think I saw anything besides that.
They've got the tie-ins with like Liquid Death and all that, so they probably made their money that's not going to be recorded as box office. There's probably some product placement and sponsorships and all that stuff. So they've probably already hit the profitability stage on that. But whatever. Like I said, if it makes 3 million, if they can keep the budget down to 2, maybe 1.5, I think that's an easy moneymaker, and it's going to be one of those things you're going to see it just to see it, to see how it turned out, rather than going to see it to want to love it. Maybe, I don't know. But I mean, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, no, you can go ahead.
Well, I was just going on to trivia. I don't know if you had any more thoughts you wanted to get out.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just going to say the problem with this is, it made its money back. It made $1 million, whatever. Regular people don't go see trauma movies. Regular people don't go, oh, yeah, let me watch Sergeant Kabuki Man or Class of Nukem High or any of the trauma greats. Normal people don't know what these movies are. People like me know what these movies are. People like you know what these movies are. And these movies aren't going to sell to a mass audience. There's a reason why they're a cult movie, if you want to throw that term around or whatever. Could you make another one? Sure, but I think you're just burning money. I mean, now we live in the day of, products, not, actual entertainment. Who knows? But I'm not interested.
Yeah. Again, they kind of screwed up the assignment. Unless I know, unless I know they're going to get it back. I mean, I'm looking at some of Trumba's movies now. When Toxic Avenger came out before, they had a bunch of them I've never heard of that came out before that. Let's see, Igor and the Lunatic, Nature Calls, Class of Nukem
Trauma's High, War, Class of Nukem High. Like I said, all the Sergeant Kabuki Mans, all 4 of the Toxic Avenger films. I'm a huge Trauma fan. There's a tremendous Lloyd Kaufman documentary on Tubi about how Trauma Films was developed and all of the properties and stuff. Funny enough, you mentioned in Terrifier 1, the girl that gets hung upside down and naked, sawed in half, Catherine Corcoran. She is a legacy Trauma actress. That's why she had no problem getting naked on screen to get cut in half by art. There's a lot of Trauma stuff that Terrifier and all of these other franchises are benefiting from now. Trauma Studios has pumped out a lot of stuff. James Gunn came from Trauma. The South Park guys, Trey Parker and Matt Stone or whatever, they were Trauma, developers. Within the horror world, a lot of talent has started in Trauma because it's low budget filmmaking. Trauma's War, Class of Nukem High. I love all of these movies. Are they good? No, but they're Trauma movies, and I love them, and I will not apologize.
Well, good is a matter of taste, though. I mean,
right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Some people like black olives on pizza. Some people don't. Does that mean black olives is good or bad? No. It's a matter of taste, especially when it comes to art, because movies are a form of art. Some art doesn't click with some people the way it clicks with others. So, but like we said, that what the people who this kind of movie does click with, what they want, and it seems like at times you went out of your way to not give it. So, I don't know. Is it salvageable for us for a franchise? Probably.
Well, look at it this way. Okay, in the original Toxic Avenger, you had multiple nude scenes of hot women. Hell, one woman is masturbating in the sauna. I mean, they had no problem going full force showing you everything. You got 2 seconds of nudity in this movie? Yeah, sure, we get to see Toxic's dick, but who gives a shit? Give me hot women naked in this movie. That's what this is about. And, they completely missed the assignment. The whole, I've always wanted to cornhole me a blind bitch. They cut that line off because, we can't have men being misogynistic or whatever. It's comedic. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. That's what people don't understand about a Trauma film. And I hope they don't make another one. Give it back to Trauma. Don't make another Toxic. That's fine. I've got 4 of them. I don't need any more. I mean, I'm good, but yeah.
I understand toning down the sexuality for a couple of reasons. Number one, when the movie in '84 was made, that was kind of the tail end of the sexual revolution. Casual sex was still a thing, so having it in that movie is fine. Not having it in today's movie, I kind of get it, because half the audience that you want to go see this movie might get turned off by it, and if you run the risk of that, maybe you want to turn it down. The other thing is, you got to remember, one of the big differences between the '80s and now is that a lot of actresses, and particularly female actresses, will have writers in their contract saying, "I won't do nudity, I won't show my boobs."
Okay, we'll hire an actress that doesn't have that problem then. Trauma gets them there. Trauma still gets them now.
A lot of go hire porn stars. I mean, you're not going to submit this movie for Oscar contention anyway. Go to a couple of porn stars who are to take their.
That's what I'm saying. Why not? You're making a Trauma movie. Do the assignment correctly. That's all I'm saying.
Whatever. That's how you do the nudity, if that's really your thing. But there's a lot more that goes into a movie than that for me. But yeah, not the toning down of the sexuality. I get it in some ways. I don't get it in others. But that's just me. But we'll go into the trivia now, and I managed to find a couple juicy pieces of trivia about this film, despite the fact that it's kind of new. But then again, it was filmed 3 years ago. So how new could it really be, even though it just released yesterday or Friday? But let's see. The investigative journalist towards the beginning of the film, his name in the film is actually Melvin Ferd. That's the same name as the main character who turns into
I heard that.
I heard her call him Melvin, and I was like, "Oh, I get that reference."
I understood. I had my Captain America moment. I understood that, reference or whatever.
I almost thought it was the same guy for a minute, but I was like, no, that guy's the Melvin guy is way too.
No, that was not Mark. Who played Melvin? Mark something. I can't remember his last name, but no, that guy's still around. I mean, hell, I'm sure he would have came back for a Toxic Avenger cameo, but it was not him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it didn't look like him. I wondered for a minute. I was looking really close, like his 27.
No, you'll know if it's Melvin because he still looks like that same nerd from the first movie. He was older and fat. He very distinctive look to him. Yeah, like you'll know if it's him.
Let's see the main corporation. I put the picture of the real star of the show up here. The main corporation of the film is BTH, which stands for Body Talk Health. This is a reference to the opening credits song called Body Talk of the original Toxic Avenger film in 1984.
I wondered about that. I didn't know for sure, but I wondered, like maybe they just, that was an accident or whatever. But okay. I can appreciate them, the nods to the original, but considering what they gave us, it just pisses me off even more knowing that they knew these things, but they didn't fucking execute it. I mean, hell, the whole '80s workout scene, of course, that was part of the '80s culture. The the spandex and the workout, the whole health club in the first movie and everything else. God, I wish they just would have remade it.
Another movie that we reviewed was Axel F, Beverly Hills Cop. As soon as they got done filming this movie, both Taylour Paige and Kevin Bacon went directly over to shoot that movie, Axel F.
Oh, shit. I forgot Kevin Bacon was it. Oh, yeah. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was the police guy, whatever.
Yeah. He was the guy that was dirty or whatever, right?
Yeah, he was the bad guy. And Taylour Paige played Axel's daughter.
Son of a bitch. There you go.
Yeah,
well, what's that whole?
They shot 2 movies back to back, where they're kind of the same character. He plays the bad guy in that movie, in both movies. She plays one of the good guys trying to bring him down. So they're essentially kind of playing the same characters. It's funny.
What's that game? 8 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or some fuck thing, whatever it is. There's 2 degrees right there with Toxic Avenger and Beverly Hills Cop. Axel F. So there you go.
Let's see. I'll go ahead and pull this up because they're in the picture. The 2 men arguing in the hospital at the end are the film's director, Macon Blair, and the original Toxic Avenger director, Lloyd Kaufman.
Lloyd Kaufman, yeah. It was you could tell who was a old school Toxic fan because the smile on the guys or the women's faces who saw Lloyd Kaufman and knew who he was. Like I said, that little part of the movie did make me happy because I'm I'm glad to see Lloyd Kaufman getting some mainstream success. Now, this is the first movie he's been in. James Gunn has put him in a couple of the Guardian films and everything else, but it was cool to see that Lloyd Kaufman, one of his movies, he gets to be in on a major release. I appreciated that.
I also was kind of dazzled. It's like Lloyd Kaufman's the one in the middle with the glasses, for those of you who don't know, the white suit. But I am kind of amazed at the fact that he's like, 80? He's neither a young man, and he's most certainly an old man.
He's an old guy.
But while he looks like he's been around the block a few times, he's still very energetic. There's a certain energy in his eyes right there that is fun, that makes me want to make sure
he's hilarious.
Be around for a while.
He's hilarious to listen to. Like I said, just go. I can't remember the name of the Lloyd Kaufman documentary on Tubi, but just look up, Lloyd Kaufman trauma on Tubi. You'll find it. He's hilarious to listen to. He makes fun of himself. He has a very fun sense of humor, and he's awesome. He's one of the unsung heroes of especially low budget horror, with guys like him and Roger Corman and people like that have made a ton of movies, but you may or may not have even known he was attached to them. So he's a legend.
He really is. Let's see. Originally, this film was supposed to be, I haven't used this picture yet. Originally, this film was supposed to be Troma Entertainment's first PG-13 film since Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, in 1990, before eventually being given an R rating. I don't know. Here's what I think. Here's my theory. I'm kind of going out there on this one a little bit. I think they actually paid them to give them an R rating, because this movie is most certainly PG-13. This is one of the... Look, I've seen some movies that I've watched and I'm like, how did this get an R rating? It's not really all that bad.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones that I'm like, good God, this was juvenile horror at best. I don't know how it got an R rating, but whatever.
It's like I said earlier, they took this is an unrated film, as a sales gimmick, not in reality. Hell, a couple weeks ago, I saw a film made by or produced by Eli Roth for his new horror company, the Horror Section. The film, basically what Eli Roth is doing is he's taking like smaller films from no-name directors and he's producing them up to the top. And the film was called Jimmy and Stiggs. And the whole movie was two former best friends do drugs, drink a lot, and they have to fight off aliens in one apartment. And it's a neon-ridden mix of Rob Zombie and Sam Raimi. That was a truly unrated film with some pretty good violence to it. This one was not. I think the only reason they got for the quick nudity that we got, the fake monster dick, and horrible CGI kills in this movie is the only thing. It was just sales gimmick. It was kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I a little too soft for me. They could have gone a little harder.
Yeah.
If they would have imitated Terrifier in one of his kills.
Well, that's the thing.
If they watching
Terrifier has
like, I'm going to try this. That would have been cool. But.
Yeah. Oh no, Terrifier has changed the game. I mean, Terrifier, Art the Clown. It's like you said earlier. He blew up kids in a Christmas mall. Like, how are you going to outdo that? Like, good freaking luck. Well,
I don't think they needed to outdo it. I just think they needed to match it. It's like,
oh yeah, they could have done something on horror. That's on the balls to.
Yeah, one of the things that Terrifier has done for horror movies, and I think is really cool, is that it's given license to people to go for the balls when it comes to visuals again.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, the visuals are as good as anything that came out of the late 70s or early 80s, that peak time of horror, and beyond in some cases. But I think the fact that movie is so tremendously popular with a lot of people, a lot of cinephiles, it should give you permission to really go for it when it comes to the visual stuff, which is why I look at this movie and I get so frustrated. Because I'm like, this is one movie needed the visuals to help push the story along. And with the exception of one or two scenes, you kept it like something that you could look. I think they made this movie thinking they were going to make a few edits and put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I believe.
Seriously, I'm really hoping to do that. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
This is the most Disney-fied Toxic Avenger we think we could have gotten.
I mean, where was Where was the equivalent of the fat, disgusting mayor laying on it? Hell, the Casey intro that Alex or you or whoever put together.
I haven't seen that again. Okay.
Where was that equivalent in this movie? We did not get that. There's so many things that is a trauma standard that they were just like, whatever. I called AJ Rader after I saw this, and I was like, dude, this is a trauma film in name only. They just took the shell of what trauma is, a couple things that you would recognize, and left the important pieces out. Like this, I'll put it to you this way. I'm putting this film on the Halloween Ends list of movies to completely ignore that ever happened. After this review, it will never be spoken of again by me. So, fuck this.
There's a interesting potential side topic one day is the worst 5 horror movies in Texas.
I've got
for all the shit we give about, because for all the shit that we give you about only watching movies with blood and tits and horror and people getting slaughtered, there has to be a couple you look at it like this, and you're like, God, this movie's terrible. Not just because there's not enough boob in it.
Well,
good God,
I've got 2 of those 5 slots filled, so I'm almost halfway there. Shouldn't be too hard.
But moving on from this, let's see. The film was screened at festivals in 2023, and a teaser trailer was released that year. But producers failed to secure a distributor for some time due to the film's, quote, violent content. Cineverse finally picked up the film in 2025, partnering with Iconic Events to release the film. I seriously, I don't understand how they could watch something like Toxic Avenger, or not Toxic Avenger, but like Terrifier. This film's too much.
Look at what
that's not even close.
Well, that's the brains of Damien Leone. He went right to theaters himself with Terrifier 2. And Terrifier 3, he didn't. He did it himself. We're living in a world, and hell, that's why I brought up Eli Roth a minute ago, because that's what he's doing with the horror section. It's a new horror company that is just bringing B, genre film right to the theater. You don't need Lionsgate or whoever to distribute. Do it yourself. Yeah, you take more of a financial risk, but you know what? It can be done. Damien Leone's proved it already. He's proved it twice already. My God, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Let's see. The movie takes place. This is the last piece I got. The film is set.
I hate that.
Most instances where you see the city sign show that St. Roma's have the S partially worn away, furthering the trauma connection. It's like we did. Yeah, it's a fun little Easter egg, but it's like we didn't know it was a trauma film. You know what I mean?
It should have been. It should have been Tromaville. It's Tromaville. Come on, don't fuck with it. Like, why are you getting that? What?
That's one of the things you do when you want to force an Easter egg into it. So it's called St. Roma,
right?
But we're gonna have the S slightly worn, so it just looks like Troma. Why don't we call it Tromaville?
Well, not just that, but I get it. They're trying to be. To modern filmmakers, they think stuff like that is clever. Oh, it says Tromaville, but it's St. Romaville. They think they're being smart when they're doing this, and it's annoying. I did not like that. It should have been called Tromaville. Not everything has to be smart, especially in a Toxic Avenger film. Come on.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. But that's all the trivia I got for this. We can go ahead and wrap it up there. Jeremy was unable to make it tonight because he was unable to see the movie this weekend. He got thrown off by having a 3-day weekend. Actually, so did I. I didn't even start putting the stream there until like 9 o'clock last night because I was like, it feels like Sunday. I can do this. I can put the stream together tomorrow. I'm like, no, this is Monday, asshole. But Jeremy is looking forward to coming and being with us for Thursday on that review, and that's going to be a fun review, I think. But
that one ought to be crazy. That one.
Yeah. Tex, give me your final thoughts on Toxic Avenger 2025.
Fuck this movie with its monstrous purple dick. I'll never watch it again. They did not understand what a trauma movie is, and they did a bastardized version of one of my favorites of all time. Couple bright spots in this, but overall, skip. Don't waste your money. It'll be on streaming soon, I'm sure. Hot garbage.
Yeah, I would say, look, if you want the big screen experience, go see it. For the limited run, it's going to be in theaters anyway. If you want to wait for it to come out on streaming, whatever. I mean, it's a fun movie. It's a fun little romp. but it's not. It's not at all anything that Toxic Avenger that came from Troma back in the 80s
Nope.
and through the 90s. It's not any of those 3 or 4 great films. That again, it's not great. I'll tell you, it's not great. It's a fun watchable. It's a fun experience. This is a Toxic Avenger movie. You know what this is? This is the movie version of the Toxic Avenger cartoon that came out in the late 80s.
Oh, the Toxic Crusader. Dude, no.
Toxic Crusaders.
Toxic Crusaders was an amazing cartoon. I still have my old Toxic Avenger action figures at my mom's place in my old toy box somewhere. I need to dig them out and see if they're even any good anymore. But no, Toxic Crusaders, I will watch on a Saturday morning anytime. This is a bastardized version.
Yeah, but like I said, it's a fun little romp. It's not a great movie. It's not a timeless movie. It's loaded with great actors and good performances, but the product suffers from really poor writing and just bad construction of the world. It's bad world building. You know, I mentioned that here and there. World building, like the first Black Panther movie had great world building. This movie did not have good world building. It was just the whole place was silly. A lot of it was kind of now. Granted, it's a Toxic Avenger movie. It's supposed to be a little silly, but it wasn't silly in the right ways. Kind of a little bit of a disappointment. Like I said, fun to watch. I'll watch it when it hits streaming again, just to watch it if I'm bored one day. But I'm not gonna love this movie the way that I love the original. You know what I mean? And it's not just because I was 8 years old and that movie came out and it's part of my childhood. It's just really that's a better film than this one.
This movie is going into the black hole where Halloween Ends lives. I'm telling you right now. Second we're done.
We're gonna memory hole the fuck out of this movie.
We're a memory hole the fuck out of it.
But that's our review. Again, no Jeremy tonight. He couldn't make it, but we're looking forward to having him on Thursday. Since usually on Thursdays I give him the keys and let him run the show. But yeah, again, go see it. Don't go see it. It's up to you. If you wanted to wait for it to come out on streaming, I wouldn't blame you. It's not that great of a movie. But you know, do what you're gonna do. It's watch the original, then watch this one. You know what we're saying. But thanks to my co-host for coming and being so awesome as usual. I think, Lozar, what do you got going on, man? You're going to be here with us Thursday, of course.
Oh, yeah. I'm very much looking forward to Thursday talking about a good Toxic Avenger film. And this weekend, Conjuring Last Rites is coming out in theaters. I've already got my tickets. Not expecting a lot. The last Conjuring movie was garbage. Let's just be honest here. The devil made me do it or whatever.
I have not been blown away by the Conjuring films. I've only seen one of them, really. But I wasn't.
The first 2 Conjurings are good, and a couple of the Annabelles are all right. But other than that, it's not been good. But Conjuring Last Rites is out this weekend. Like I said, I've already got my tickets. So I don't know if we're going to talk about that one or not. But who really knows? We'll figure that out later. But yeah, well, I'll be seeing that this weekend, and obviously Thursday be here for the good Toxic movie.
And you'll see me back here alongside my hetero life mate Jeremy as we break down the 1984 version of Toxic Avenger, the one that is far superior to this film. Looking forward to breaking that down. I'm looking forward to watching that again for the first time in a couple of years on Thursday. But we will see you guys next time. Until then, adios.
Hang on, Frank. I got to pull my dick out. You might want to turn the camera off.
Oh, let's get this real quick then. we don't want that to happen. But I mean, look, one of these days somebody's gonna do the show from their bathtub the way Casey used to do it back in the day. It's probably gonna be Casey. Let's be honest. If I ever let him back,
we should dress Casey up like the midget version of Toxic. That's what we need to do. That'd be great.
We don't have to. Just gotta paint him green. He pretty much looks like that anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Job's done. Paint him green, put him in a skirt, give him a mop. You know, that's all we gotta do.
Right. A tutu, not a skirt. Goodbye, everybody.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.